Are you struggling to take control of your finances? Do you feel like you're stuck in an endless cycle of debt and financial insecurity? If so, it's time to make a change. With the right action plan, it's possible to step into your money power. Putting steps in place now can put you on the path to success over the next few years, giving yourself the freedom and peace of mind that comes with being financially secure. Today, I'm going to share 5 essential steps to creating long-term financial success that will help you take control of your finances and start building a strong foundation for the financial success you desire. Hi, I'm Pamela Plick. I help purpose-driven women to confidently build wealth from the inside out. I help women who are overcoming feeling anxious, they're overwhelmed, or stuck related to their personal relationship with money. And I help them become more confident, achieve peace of mind, financial freedom, and the impact they desire without fear. And I do this through my signature programs and services, special events that I offer, as well as community. The first essential step to creating long-term financial success is to create an empowered relationship with money. The way to create an empowered relationship with money is to first gain clarity. Why do you make the financial decisions that you do? What's driving your financial decisions? What are the beliefs that you currently hold that no longer serve you and may be interfering with you creating a good relationship with money? Ask yourself, where did these beliefs come from? And typically, when we look at our beliefs, they are the beliefs around money are imprinted upon us as children. You think about when you were a kid, how was money talked about in your household? Was there a sense of prosperity, a sense of lack? Did you feel that there was not enough? Did your parents even talk about money? And all of that goes into our beliefs. It develops our beliefs around money. And sometimes it's actually even unconscious. The beliefs, we're not thinking consciously about the beliefs that we have, but they are showing up not only in our personal lives, but also in our professional lives. So think about that. Create an empowered relationship with money. Also, I want to mention there are 3 pillars to money that we need to take into consideration in order to have a good relationship with money. There's the spiritual, the emotional, as well as the practical sides of money. So spiritual, if you grew up in a spiritual household, or in a certain religion, what were some of the beliefs that you heard around money? So thinking about that. Also the emotional side. If you've ever bought anything on the spur of the moment, maybe you bought, a pair of shoes, or you bought a new dress and you really didn't need it, but it was just a spur of the moment. What were the emotions behind buying, that impulsive item? And a lot of times, we're thinking about, am I making this decision from my emotion? What emotion is coming up? And there's a variety of emotions that we have that can influence our money decision. Could be fear, it could be happiness, anxiety, a lot of things. So thinking about that, in terms of our emotions. And then the third pillar of money is practical. The practical side of money is taking action. So taking those steps, putting a plan in place, creating that budget, creating that investment plan, starting that new business, those are all practical steps that you can take Now, we all know, if you know, we know, for example, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, but we know how important it is to make sure that we are living within our means. We know that. Okay, you know that. But if you're not doing it, you know the steps you need to take, but you're not doing it, then there's something that needs to be addressed in the other two pillars. What are some of those unrealized beliefs that you have, maybe in the spiritual aspect of money or the emotional aspect of money? But again, it's important to understand those voices in your head that are actually driving your financial decisions and how they impact your money beliefs and your money behavior and how they're showing up in your life today. Once you gain clarity on this, then you can start to create an empowered relationship with money by taking the steps that you need to take in order to create the financial vision that you want to have. The second step, or essential step, to creating long-term financial success is to stop procrastinating on financial decisions. This is the number one mistake that I see women make, is procrastination. And it actually is a result of fear, lack of confidence and fear. So we procrastinate because we don't know what to do. So we do nothing. And we have a fear of making a mistake. Again, we don't know what to do. We don't know the right questions to ask or where to get the support that we need. So as a result, we have a tendency to put off making important financial decisions due to this lack of confidence. But again, the good news is that this can be easily overcome. Couple ways to do that. Number one is to read. Read financial information. Read one piece of financial information every day. That's an easy action plan, an action step that you can take. There's so much information on the internet, so it's easy to get that information by reading one piece of financial information. Now, again, you want to make sure, though, that it is from a reputable source, but that's important. Review your statements. You first of all, your checking account statement, to look at your cash flow. Also reviewing your savings statements and maybe investment or retirement statements. So making sure that you're reviewing that on a periodic basis. Now, you probably don't need to review it every single day, but you want to make sure that it's on your calendar to review on a periodic basis, as I mentioned. Also, getting support. There are numerous ways to get support, maybe joining a community where you are getting that education, but you also have the support of the members of the community, and you're all on the same path. That's a great way to build your confidence. And you educate yourself. Enroll in financial classes or workshops where you can get that information that you need. And then lastly, if you are still feeling a little overwhelmed or stuck, then it might be time to get some professional guidance. And you can do that by considering working with a financial planning professional to help you get, to get that guidance or mentoring that you need, especially if one of the reasons that you're not looking at your statement, let's say your investment statement, for example, because you don't understand the investments that are in your portfolio, then, you want to make sure that you are talking with your financial advisor and having them explain to you what's in your portfolio and why. And if you don't have an advisor, again, if you're feeling overwhelmed, this might be a good time to consider getting professional support. The third essential step to create long-term financial success is to create a monthly spending plan. And the monthly spending plan, it's a fancy word for budget. I know a lot of folks don't like the term budget. They feel that it's constricting, but in my opinion, it's very freeing. And so create a monthly spending plan. Do you know where your money goes? Do you have a positive cash flow? Meaning, your income minus your expenses, you still have money left over. If the answer is no, or I don't know, then you need to create a spending plan or a budget. Now, we all know the importance of living within our means, but it's equally important to identify where your money is being spent. It's not enough to say, well, I know that I'm not overspending, but where are you spending on a monthly basis? And when it comes to taking control of your finances, setting a budget is key. A budget is the best tool for helping you gain control of your finances and live within your means. When creating your budget, you want to determine how much you need for essential living expenses, as well as discretionary expenses. And essential living expenses, when I say that, I'm talking about food, housing, transportation, medical. Those are the 4 essential categories that you want to make sure that are being covered every month. Now, by creating the budget, it also helps you develop realistic expectations around what you can afford and helps you to create an action plan that aligns with your goals. You want to make sure that your budget is realistic and it's achievable. And it allows you to save money each month, because that's so important. As part of that, your budget, you want to make sure that you are including savings as well. Now, if it seems a little daunting, most online banking, if you use online banking for your checking account, most commercial banks do have a cash management tool where you can create a budget within that online banking app. But if you like to look at your budget, on your phone, or maybe separately from your checking account information, there's also budgeting apps that you can use to track your spending and to help you stay on track with your financial goals. Now, sometimes it's easy to get lost in the keeping up with the Joneses mentality, or you may be thinking you're looking at someone else and you're saying, well, why am I not as financially secure as this person? Or I'm behind. Now, you have to get out of that mentality. But if you want to achieve financial freedom, it's essential that you live within your means. And I want to talk a little bit about budgeting and building an emergency fund. So it's important to build an emergency fund or reserve, as well as paying off debt. So both of those should be included in your budget, monies that you're going to set aside for each of those particular goals. An emergency fund is essential for providing financial safety nets during unexpected expenses. By having the money saved up in case of a financial emergency, you can avoid getting into more debt or using credit cards to cover costs And these credit cards that you're not, the amount that you're not able to spend or pay off within the same month. So it's really important to have that, you have that reserve. And ideally what you want to do is you want to build up the emergency fund or reserve, build it up to 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. And when I mentioned earlier, essential is housing, food, transportation, medical. So when you add up those 4 items, what it costs you monthly for those 4 items, multiply that times 3 or multiply that times 6, and that's the amount that you want to have in your emergency fund, which is you want to keep it in a separate savings account that's liquid and easy access. Now, I know a lot of folks, when I say that, it's like, well, you're not earning a lot of interest on that, but that's not the point. The point is that you want to have that money, again, in an account that's liquid and it's easy to get to. And so the trade-off with that is you're not going to earn a lot of interest. But it's really important so that if an emergency does happen, or when an emergency happens, then you're able to get to that money really quickly. Additionally, paying off debt, any existing debt, to reduce, your expenses, right? That frees up more money to help you fund your dreams, and really there's no advantage to paying interest. We can't write the interest off on our tax returns. It's just money that's being taken away from us being able to fund our goals. So you definitely want to make sure when you have your budget, you have the housing, the food, transportation, medical. In addition to that, you want to build in an amount that you are paying off to debt, paying your debt each month. Now, also with that, you want to also include an amount that you're contributing to savings on a monthly basis as well. Now, you might maybe you don't have the 6 months of essential living expenses set aside just yet. So part of your budget, you want to put so much each month into that emergency fund until you build it up to the 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. Now, the 4th essential step to create long-term financial success is to set solid goals. We talked about creating the budget, right? And one of your goals might be, I need to create a budget, or it might be, I need to create an emergency fund or reserve, of 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. It's important when you're setting goals to have a clear understanding of what you want to accomplish with your money and set realistic goals that are achievable within a certain time frame. So if any of you ever worked for corporate America, then you probably know the acronym SMART. So we want to make sure that you set SMART goals. And SMART, just to refresh your memory, SMART stands for specific. The goal needs to be specific, not vague, not something like I want to retire. Okay, it needs to be specific. I want to retire with an income of X by whatever date. So specific. The second is measurable. You want to make sure that you're able to measure your success to that goal. So be clear. If you know that you want to retire with an income of $5,000 a month by age 55, that's measurable. So each month, you're setting aside money to your retirement plan if you're self-employed, or to maybe your company's 401k if you are a professional employed by another company. So you can actually track to see, by year, whether you are on track to achieve that particular goal. Now, the next thing that needs to be part of the SMART goal is that it needs to be achievable. Now, retiring at age 55, with a certain income, now whether at an income of $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month, now only you know whether that's achievable or not based on where you are and how much you can shift to save, from your budget to save to your retirement account or other investments that you have. So you need to make sure that it is achievable. That is not an unrealistic goal. And then the other thing is making sure that it's relevant. Is this goal relevant to your values and your vision? So, you want to make sure, what is your vision, your long-term vision, grand vision for your life? And you set goals based on that vision. And you want to make sure that this particular, whatever goal that you set is relevant to your vision. So if part of your, one of your goals or values is financial freedom, paying down debt is a good goal to have because it is relevant to your values, the value of financial freedom. So making sure that the goal is relevant. And then lastly, making sure that the goal is time-bound. You want to make sure, retire at age 55, that's easy to measure, because depending on how old you are now, okay, at age 55, you know how much you're saving, how much you're contributing. You can tell whether you're, at age 55, whether you're going to be able to retire or not. So making sure that it's time bound. Having a concrete, measurable objective helps motivate you to stay on track and keep working towards your ultimate goal. Setting solid goals can also help you identify potential obstacles and create strategies to overcome them. Now, the fifth step to create a long-term financial success is to create a wealth building plan. Once you have your foundation, you have created an empowered relationship with money. You stop procrastinating on important financial decisions. You created your spending plan. You set solid goals. Now it's time to look at building wealth. But what's involved in building wealth? Are you building wealth or are you just saving money? And it's important to understand the difference, because savings is important to building for your emergency fund or short-term goals. So there's an appropriate place inside your plan for savings accounts as well as for investments. So if you have a short-term goal, typically a goal that's 1 to 3 years for savings, or money that's earmarked for something in particular. Maybe you're planning to buy a home or a second home. Maybe, within 5 years, you need to buy a new car, so those are, shorter term goals or goals that you want to save for, right? So savings is important there. But what's involved in building wealth? Building wealth is about making your money work for you. You need to understand the basics of investing. If you're planning to build wealth, it's important to understand investing as a whole, how to make investment decisions, and the process of creating an investment plan. In addition, it's also important to build a longevity plan to protect your wealth. As women, we have a tendency to live longer than men. And so it's important to plan. For example, if you are planning for retirement, for example, you want to make sure that you're planning for a longer retirement rather than a shorter retirement. And then what happens if, as you get older, one of the big concerns that retired folks have is healthcare, and what's going to happen if they develop, or become incapacitated, or they need care. So making sure that as part of your wealth plan, that you're building longevity in there, because you don't want to outlive your money. So now that you have an understanding of the 5 essential steps to create long-term financial success, it's time for you to apply the knowledge in your own life and begin making progress toward your financial freedom using the steps that I outlined above. Number 1, create an empowered relationship with money. Number 2, stop procrastinating on financial decisions. Number 3, create a spending plan. And number 4, set solid goals. And number 5, create a wealth building strategy. To help you gain additional clarity and motivate yourself into action, here are 3 questions that I'd like you to ask yourself. Number 1, what does financial success mean to me? What emotions come up for me when I think about making financial decisions? And number 3, what's one action step that I will commit to today? If you would like to learn more about your relationship with money and how it may be preventing you from taking action, I invite you to take my free money type quiz. It only takes 5 minutes to complete, and it is a life changer. So just go to PamelaPlick.com/thank-you. And after you've taken the quiz, check out my other free tools and resources to help you start unlocking your financial freedom and setting yourself up for long-term financial success. And as we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with this quote. It's never too late to start taking control of your finances. Starting from where you are now can help you build a solid foundation for long-term financial success and security in the future. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, remember, you can rise to your money power.